Good morning. I am shooting you this video today to talk to you about nutrition. I'm here at my home office, and this is the key to having a good foundation in nutrition. Nutrition is 80% of how we look and how we feel, right? And that's crazy. We've all pretty much heard that statistic by now, right? And 80% is actually now a low estimate. So that means you can train 5-6 days a week. You can be in a killer program like we have through our Fit Buddy Bootcamp Redlands and Fit Buddy Bootcamp Calamasa. And because nutrition is so important, we actually include it for all of our programs. But that's because I know, even though we have killer workouts that are the most effective for helping you burn body fat, build cardio endurance, and feel good again, the workouts aren't enough. You still need to be fueling your body right. So how do you do that? Now I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to make it really simple. This is the thing, is so many people make it so much more complicated than it is. And so I want to help clear the air about a couple of myths that are out there and why so many people really feel like they fail at this. And the key to all of this is that good, proper nutrition is based on a healthy balance. And so where a lot of people kind of fall into this rut is they go from one fad to another fad. And I know you don't realize that it's a fad because there's so much poor information out there. People are making you promises that just aren't realistic. Maybe some of those programs do in fact give you very short-term results, but I'm here to just be honest and tell you that it is short-term and it is going to do so much havoc to the inside of your system that you're going to end up worse off than you were before you started. A great example of that is these 500-calorie diets or these super restrictive diets that say, you know, oh, take out all your carbs and just focus on proteins, and hey, by the way, let's just do 500 calories, and oh, but by the way, you're going to take a shot, so that shot's 4,000 calories, so now it's good for you. No, that's all bunk. That's all a gimmick. It's all a temporary fix, okay? So what you need to learn is just how to eat real food. Isn't that cool that you get to eat real food though, and you get to eat lots of it? It's just knowing the right choices to make, the right combinations, and getting healthy. So this is where it starts. First of all, 5,000 foot level, overall nutrition also includes making sure that you get enough sleep. I know it's hard. We say, gosh, we're so busy. That's just the way this day and age is. I've got, you know, work to balance with kids and husbands and wives and, you know, all the kids' sports, and how am I possibly going to get enough sleep? You know, and I totally get it. I used to be there before when I was in corporate America. I was proud of just getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and, you know, because I could function that way and blah, blah. The reality is some of you probably feel like you can, but your body is breaking down on the inside. And research shows that when you do not get at least 7 hours of sleep, your body is in a very high state of stress. And one of the things that happens when you don't get enough sleep is that your body will then elevate a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is this tricky little hormone that tells your body it's stressed out and it needs to hold on to body fat because it starts going into survival mode. Whenever your body kicks into survival mode, that doesn't even sound right, right? Survival mode does not sound like a good place for your body to be, right? If your body starts going into survival mode, it holds on to whatever body fat it can, thinking that it needs to hold it for later, just in case it needs it. So cortisol is one of those elements that do that, or one of those hormones that do that. So you need to be getting enough sleep. Another reason is when we don't get enough sleep, what happens is we do tend to be grumpier. We don't have clear thoughts. We make poor decisions. I know you think your decisions are just fine. They're not. That's one of the poor decisions that you're making because you're not getting enough sleep. So the key is you really got to find a way to get some sleep. And I'll do a video another day about how to make that happen. I know so many people have problems with sleeping. I know I've been there too in the past. So we'll talk about that more later, but you want to make sure that you make time to sleep. You actually do not have time to not make time to sleep, because the better sleep you get, the higher functioning individual you will be. You will make more time, more effective time out of the hours you have in the day if you're well rested and well nourished, which we'll talk about in a second. The other key is water. Water, I know it sounds so simple and a lot of people have a hard time drinking it, but water is literally one of the dominant substance, if you will, within our body. So our body functions off of water. So if you are not getting enough water in, your body's actually going to hold on to whatever water it has. Not to mention the fact that water helps your system just kind of push everything through and have a good, nice digestive system. It's also really natural energy. So those are two high-level things that you need to be focused on. And then when it comes to nutrition, this is what I can share with you, and we work with, it can come down to the details, and there can be a lot to it. But just getting started, knowing that it's 80%, let me give you a couple tips. First and foremost, just start somewhere. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to be perfect all the time, but start somewhere. And let me tell you that when our bodies bring in food, our body has to work to digest that food. And that working is what we want to happen because that helps drive our metabolism. Then it comes down to the right balance of food. And that's because food matters. We've got to have the right balance of protein, carbs, and good carbs, and fat, because they all serve a purpose within our body. If your goal is to be healthy and lose some weight or create some lean muscle tone, you really need to have that balance, and this is how it works. Proteins are going to be the source of the building block for your lean muscle tissue, not bulky muscle. You are not going to get bulky from taking protein in, okay? Protein is just the foundation of what your body needs to create muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is active tissue in your body. It's always running. Body fat just kind of hangs out, lays there, you know? That's the stuff we're always trying to get rid of. You need some of it, right? But muscle is so crazy active, it raises what's called your base metabolic rate. That's good. That's what we want. Because your base metabolic rate is going to tell your body what it's going to burn or how actively or efficiently it's going to run even when you're just sitting there at rest. We're all burning at a certain rate right now. The only difference is which rate are we burning at, okay? So the more efficient you get your body running, the less body fat you'll have. Your body wants to be in balance. We're not talking about being crazy. Your body wants to be healthy and wants to be in balance. You just got to give it the right tools. So with protein sources, protein, it's going to range, but I'll give you an average. An average, especially for women, you want to have about 0.8 grams to about a gram of protein per body pound. Now, talk to your doctor if you have, that's for a good, healthy individual. If you have kidney issues, pancreas issues, liver issues, anything like that, then you really need to talk to them about what would be good protein in terms of protein sources and how much protein, all that good stuff. Now, carbs. People are so afraid of carbs. Don't be afraid of carbs. Carbs are your body's easiest energy source, and it is something your body needs for fuel. So one of these questions are like, people ask me all the time is like, hey, Rebecca, what do you think about paleo? You know, paleo, unfortunately, and if you, not that I want you to do the research, I know you don't have time for it, but you do a little digging on it, and there's a lot of controversy even about paleo now, because just like anything else, it's morphed so much. So I will tell you this, I'll caution you with this, just because something says it's paleo, and actually just because something says it's gluten-free, does not mean that it's healthy for you. It does not mean that it may be healthier than the alternative, but it does not mean that it's going to get you to your goal of overall health and weight loss. A lot of what I see termed as gluten-free or paleo is still just a different variation of junk. There's still a lot of sugar, gluten-free in particular. Well, let me come back to that in a second. So just be aware. What you want to focus on is good whole carbohydrate sources. So fruits in moderation are good. Lots of green vegetables. You could eat green vegetables all day long. They're really low in calories, really good for you. Lots of vitamins and minerals in them. If you don't like them, suck it up. We're all adults. Find vegetables that you like, okay? They're going to help drive your body. I'm just being real. Then in terms of good carbs that are slower digesting and going to be better for your body, think of things like brown rice, quinoa, yams, sweet potatoes. I'm sure I'm missing some. Definitely oatmeal, there are other sources, but I tend to, my diet naturally is pretty gluten-free, just because I feel better that way. If you're gluten-free, then you want to obviously avoid the grains and the wheat and whey and all, or not whey, wheat, barley. The goal being that it's the rate in which they digest. Now, when it comes to carbs and or food in general, but we'll talk about it in terms of carbs and processed food. Like I said, your body has to work to digest it, right? And the easier it is for your body to digest that food, the more likely that food is to be moved onto body fat, okay? Because when your body breaks down food, it turns it into blood sugar for the most part. And it has pretty much one of two places to go. Either muscle energy reservoir, this is my energy reservoir, which is really, really shallow, or body fat. Body fat is never ending, right? That's how we gain the weight. Muscle energy reservoir, very shallow. So as the food breaks down way above that line and what your body can use for that muscle energy at any given time, the excess is being moved onto body fat. So how does that happen? It can happen a number of ways. It can happen by your carbohydrate choices. So some poor or not so great carbohydrate choices are anything that's what's called high glycemic or high energy. So it's going to be things that are like white breads, white rice, alcohol. Sorry, I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not against you guys having a drink every once in a while, but just know that it's probably going straight to body fat. Wherever you don't like your fat, that's where that alcohol is going. Just telling you. And the other key thing to this too is processed foods. And this is what gets me, and it's another thing that I know you guys, a lot of you feel like it's good because it says smart one, or it says healthy choice, or lean cuisine. Well, it doesn't matter that it only has 250 or 300 calories. That has been processed so much, it is like whew, to your blood system. And now what your body can't use is being moved on. So you have a choice, either a 250 lean cuisine meal, 250 calorie lean cuisine meal, or 300, even 500 calories of good whole foods. I'd rather you have the 300 to 500 calories, and wouldn't you want to eat more, right? That makes sense, right? Because your body has to work harder. So the closer to the ground or the animal that the food has come from, the harder it is for your body to break it down, which is what you want. You want your body to have to work for it. That's the way we were created. There's no way around it, okay? The more that we have touched something as man, the more processed it is, the faster it's going to break down, the more likely it is to turn on to body fat, okay? And then the other source is fat. Fat is brain food. You've got to have it. Good fats are not going to make you fat. You have got to have good sources like coconut oil, avocados, nuts, not peanuts. Peanuts are not a nut. Almonds, walnuts, cashews, Brazil nuts, pistachios. Those are all seeds. All of those sources are good, healthy fats. I think I missed avocado. There's tons of good healthy fats out there that you want to integrate. So the key that I can't give you today, that we work with all of our members, is figuring out how to balance all that. That's where it does get, in order for you to get the best results, that's where it does get a little complicated, and that's why you really need to hire a coach that knows what they're talking about, has proven success in that area, to really guide you along that way, because it's just so much more than I can cover in a video. But get started. Just focus on the good foods. And let me tell you, when it's a lifestyle, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, but when it's a lifestyle and you're making good choices, 90-95% of the time, you should not feel guilty about having a treat meal. I have my treat meal almost every week. My favorites are, my favorites are ice cream, straight up, and I haven't eaten pizza actually for years, just because the grease would tend to make me feel not so good, but it used to be one of my favorites. Then I discovered Pieology. If you're local, man, that stuff is good. So that's one of my favorite treats, and sushi. Not that sushi is horrible, but again, sushi in general, you think, okay, well, it is white rice, but then it's a bunch of protein. Well, it's the sauces, it's all the little tricky stuff, but I'll put that into another video. Today, it's all about the basics of nutrition. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna take one day at a time. You're gonna focus on all the things you're gonna do right. You're gonna find one habit this week that you can change. And of those habits, you're gonna look for things like, could I be doing better on my water? Could I be doing better on my sleep? And could I be making healthier food choices? Maybe it's just start with eating out less and eating from home more, right? All right, you got this. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Be happy to answer them, maybe even on a future video. Bye.